I want to watch the news.
Are you making headway at least?
This is the news.
Smack-a-ma-gob, it's time for the only news that matters. And here's the Jakey Lee update. As you know, a week or so ago, he got shot 3 times. And now he came out and explained the circumstances behind the shooting incident that took place last week. The guitarist was walking his dog at night near his Las Vegas home where he was shot 3 times in what was first described as a random attack. He previously said that the shooter had emptied his clip of 15 shells, and noting that he can only dodge so many. So 1 bullet went through my forearm, 1 went through my foot, and 1 in my back, which broke a rib and damaged a lung. In a new update, Jakey Lee thanked fans for their continued concern and reported that he was out of the hospital and recuperating at home while expressing gratitude to the medical staff who cared for him. Jake said, "Walking home from our walk, Coco and I," which is his dog Coco, crossed paths with a couple of thieves, dressed darkly, hoodies pulled down their face, and masks covering their mouths. Standing in my neighbor's driveway, checking out his motorcycle. And there was a verbal confrontation which ended with an agreement that I would walk one way and they would walk the opposite. That didn't work out. I'll probably talk in more details about it later, but right now I can only comfortably do a little at a time. Jakey Lee is 67, is predicted to make a full recovery in time. The guitarist and member of Ozzy Osbourne's band in the mid-'80s appeared on Bark at the Moon and Ultimate Sin. He was shot around 2:40 a.m. on October 15th. The Las Vegas Review-Journal reported that he has been assisted by a neighbor who heard the shots, called 911 and ran out of his home with a gun. The local police department said the investigation was continuing and Coco, the dog, was unharmed. Alright, there you go. Oh, and also this picture right here of Jake at home with his daughter Jade. I think that's his daughter Jade. I saw comments saying that was his daughter Jade. So, yeah, and I didn't know he was home yet. When I saw this picture, if you see behind him, that Red Dragon Cartel drawing, I was like, oh, he must be home. And that's pretty badass, man. You get shot 3 times and you're home within a week. That's a badass right there, man. Jakey Lee is one of those people, man, that I think is just as genuine as you can get. Listening to his interviews, man, he says stuff like, hey, man, look, I don't want no money. Just give me credit on Bark at the Moon. That's all I ask for, And he says other stuff, that's just, he sounds so down to earth, How can you hate on Jakey Lee? And I met him, man. He was the nicest dude ever, man. He was beyond nice. And did an ID for my podcast. Fucking great dude. Now, another Jakey Lee news. He talks about the song he's proudest that he's done with Ozzy Osbourne. When you think of Jakey Lee's short but strong stint as Ozzy Osbourne's guitarist, the song that probably comes to mind first is the title track for Bark at the Moon. However, there are quite a few other lesser-known tunes that are featuring Lee's exceptional guitar playing, like The Ultimate Sin and Never and Shot at the Dark. But during a recent interview with Jakey Lee on the Tone Talk podcast, this is before he was shot actually, posted just days before he was shot, the former Ozzy guitarist selected and discussed the tune he was most proud of from a guitar standpoint during his time with the Prince of Darkness. And it's not a tune you'd probably expect. Jake said, I would say Killer Giants is probably one of the songs that I'm most proud of, period, that I wrote. For one reason, because it's almost orchestral in a way, the way it's presented. I do the guitar intro, which I'll repeat something, and then I'll never come back to it. I go to another place, just to another place, and go another place after that. Another reason why Jakey Lee fancied the tune so much is because it contained elements of a guitar style that is not often associated with Jakey Lee, but was certainly more associated with Ozzy's earlier guitarist, Randy Rhoads. He said, and then there's the classical part with Ozzy, which is a new place, and then it goes to the first verse of Killer Giants, then it goes to the chorus. So it isn't until after the second chorus that it even repeats itself from those first 4, maybe 3 minutes. It's just constantly shifting and moving to another place, and I really had a lot of fun doing that. It's a great song. And Lee served as Ozzy's guitar player between 1983 and 1987, appearing on just 2 albums, Bark of the Moon and Ultimate Sin, as well as both albums supporting tours, plus a live concert home video, The Ultimate Ozzy. And there you go. I do love Killer Giants. I'm kind of rough on Ultimate Sin because I'm not a fan of it. I love Secret Loser, I love Killer Giants, and I love the hit Shot in the Dark. Those 3 songs are the standout songs. Now, as far as guitar playing goes, songs like Never, man, Jake is ruling. I'm not a fan of the song itself, but his guitar playing on it, unbelievable. To me, like, the most amazing guitar playing I've ever heard Jake do was on Waiting for Darkness. What he does in the beginning with the keyboard, that's so awesome. What a great, great song. Great, great guitar playing. I would say that to me is like really the most underrated of Ozzy songs right there. Waiting for Darkness, no doubt. And the B-side, One Up the B-side's another amazing song, man. And yeah, I love the Bark at the Moon era. Other than Slow Down, I liked every other song on there, and I saw the tour front row of Motley Crue. You know, it was awesome. Ultimate Sin, I saw the tour. The tour was cool, but it wasn't with Metallica. Metallica already left the tour, and we got Queensryche, which is cool because that was Rage for Order, and Rage for Order is my favorite Queensryche album, and it was a great show, man. I mean, and that's the first time Jake actually did a guitar solo with no drums or nothing playing. And that was an amazing show. I absolutely loved it. And but Bark of the Moon I thought was better. It was just a more pissed off show, and for some reason, man, Ozzy was on that night, man. That night, I never saw, honestly, I've never seen Ozzy so energetic than the Bark at the Moon tour. He was nuts, man. I mean, going fucking nuts all over the place, you know. And I'd seen Ozzy 2 times before that, Blizzard of Oz and Speak of the Devil tour. But for me personally, Badlands is the most mind-blowing thing I've ever seen Jake do. And as great as those 2 albums are live, Jakey Lee live during the Badlands era, I mean, that's guy that's, you know, just let loose. You know, with Ozzy, you have to play here, you have to do this. Yeah, it's kind of like orchestrated in a way to be an Ozzy band, where Badlands was a very loose, jammy band. And Jake would go off and just do this long, extended solo that was just mind-blowing. You know, I saw it in clubs, man, all the way up front, both times. When I saw him in clubs, I was all the way up front. And in front of Jake, man. And it was just mind-blowing, man, how amazing those Badlands shows are, looking back. Even the second album was just as good. You know, Voodoo Highway without Eric Singer. I thought it was just as good, and actually like Voodoo Highway more than the first album, but I love them both. Not a fan of Dusk. I know a lot of you out there love that album. I can't get into it, and I've tried. But anyway, Jake's doing great, man. He's home. That's awesome news to hear. I'm so happy for him, man. Jake's gonna be around, and thank God he didn't get shot in the hands, man. That would have totally blew. But hey, man, what do y'all think? Leave it in the comments below about the great Jakey Lee. He rules, man. And please, everybody, subscribe to my channel if you haven't. Ring that little notification bell. I would appreciate that. And like the video. It's good for the YouTube algorithms. So stay frosty, listen to Badlands, and smack 'em a cob.
Farewell and adieu to you fair Spanish ladies. Farewell and adieu, you ladies of Spain. For we've received orders for to sail back to Boston. And so never more shall we see you again.